Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
EVERGLOW Unpaid Since Debut, LOLLAPALOOZA Backlash, Stacey's Comeback, and more.
Ooh, I want to get into the Stacey's comeback for
Where's my
sure.
headphone? Let's see.
1. EVERGLOW hasn't been paid in 6 years. The industry sells a fantasy
How
of
does that
young
happen?
trainees rising
I
from
don't know.
obscurity to global stardom, bathed in brand deals
Oh,
and wealth.
maybe they've
Yet
been working on their debt.
Yeah,
Don't you gotta work on the debt first?
That's what my assumption is.
But
Yeah.
for 6 years.
Well, I mean, okay, so they don't get paid, but I mean they do get shelter and food provided for them. So it sucks, but it's not like they're living
That
on the
was the
street
deal,
homeless.
you know.
Yeah, so
To travel around,
Yeah,
perform,
yeah.
sing, dance.
Yeah.
Behind this facade lies a predatory ecosystem designed to exploit its participants. EVERGLOW's Erin, a member of a group once hailed as a rising force in the late 2010s, recently revealed she has not been paid a single cent in 6 years since debut. But is anyone
That's a long
shocked?
time.
No. To understand how this happens,
It's a
I
long
would be itching to get some money.
It's a long time, but I'm not shocked. I don't think EverGlow is that big of a group, to make major money.
Yeah, I just wonder how much in debt they are.
we must dissect every layer of K-pop's machinery, from trainee debt to manipulated accounting, global touring scams, and the psychological warfare. This is not just about EVERGLOW. It's about
She does have a point. Maybe there's something behind the scenes too going on.
Yeah, but what's the purpose for the goal of the company to be in debt?
No, they are in debt to the company. But maybe
Yeah,
company.
but
I'm saying company may be cooking the books a little bit to make them pay off less of the debt, even though they're paying off more. You get what I'm saying?
oh yeah, of course.
an entire generation of idols trapped in a cycle of legalized slavery. Let's start with trainee debt. Before an idol even debuts, they are already drowning in debt. Trainees, often children as young
That's
as
why-
12, sign contracts.
That's why it's crazy to me that they don't have like a third party to that oversees this, because you're trusting the company to do proper accounting.
Yeah.
But it should be very transparent, the numbers.
Yeah.
But then how can you verify the numbers they say
There
is
should be a
correct?
third party that is
Mhm.
managing the debt and everything. It shouldn't
yeah.
be. Yeah, because within the company they can cook the
In-house,
books and
yeah.
they make like, oh yeah, so in reality you made 100,000 to go
Mhm.
towards the debt, but they cooked right off some
Mhm.
bullshit expenses. They're like, oh, it's only
Wow.
20,000.
But
It's
I just think that's just such an awful strategy, because at some point your artist is gonna get frustrated, and that's gonna translate into the
and what they're gonna do? They sign the contract. They
I
can't do
know,
nothing.
but do you truly? I think like happy people can do great work. I don't think if
no
they're
such
miserable.
thing as happy in Korea. You see in the
Ooh.
K-pop, no such thing.
Contracts that bind them to
Everybody's-
crippling financial obligations. Companies charge exorbitant fees for vocal lessons, dance training, housing, and even food, expenses that compound with interest. A 2021
I
report by the
agree.
Korean National Assembly reveals
Because
that the
especially
average trainee
if they
debt
don't agree to what should be like, but like for example in JYP's group Vicha,
Yeah.
they felt like way
Yeah.
above their means. They felt like they were living in a mansion, and they said we don't have to live in a mansion,
Right, yeah.
or I don't even want to live here in the first place.
Yeah, so they give certain expenses to them that you don't ask for. Then you
For,
can't say, oh
yeah.
no, I don't want to give you cash
Mhm.
instead.
ranges from $50,000 to $150,000, depending on the agency's prestige. These debts are not itemized transparently. Trainees are told they'll understand later, a deliberate tactic to obscure exploitation. EVERGLOW's agency Wehua Entertainment is no
And keep in mind that these trainees are like at what 12, 13, 14 when they sign the deal. They don't know any better.
No, that's why the parents
exception.
need an
Members like
agent.
Erin, who, trained for years, entered their debut already owing the company 6 figures. This debt is not a loan, it is a life sentence, designed to ensure idols remain beholden to their agencies indefinitely. Next up is comeback loans. Every comeback is a high-stakes gamble funded by the idols themselves. Companies front costs for music production.
What?
I didn't know that.
I don't know that either.
So wait, every time a group goes on a comeback, they have to, agree to take in more debt. I thought it was like requested, like by popular
That
demand.
is some bullshit now. I mean,
Why would I come back then?
already the debt, the trainee debt is some bullshit, but I can at least okay, whatever, kind of accepted it. Now there's more debt added on that.
I thought comeback there, like they want you to perform.
I
like
thought that
you're
the
in the
company invests
positive.
into you and
That you're in the positive
oh my
at that
goodness.
point.
MV filming, styling, and promotions, expenses that are then deducted from the group's earnings. Here's the catch. These costs are often grossly inflated. A music video budget might be listed as $500,000 when actual costs are $200,000, with the difference pocketed by the company. EVERGLOW's 2020 MV for Dun Dun
That should be
reportedly cost
illegal.
$700,000
It is illegal, but who's there to audit it?
Yeah, that's it.
To produce.
But don't they have audits overall? Cause remember that's why Hype was in question if buying up like what do you call that, the CDs,
Yeah, but
and then
audits. I think
returning.
audits are well, okay. How audits work here in the States? They're random. They're not like, oh, you're not audited every year.
Mm.
Insiders claim UEHWA exaggerated expenses
I
to
thought
keep
this
the
year,
group in debt. If the
last year, I
comeback
think
underperforms,
this year or the last year was an audit year. Everyone was like their books were being open.
the debt rolls over to the next project, creating an inescapable loop. Even moderately successful groups like EVERGLOW, who racked up millions of streams, are told they've not broken even. This is not incompetence. It is
I don't
strategic
know if Everglow
sabotage.
is that
UEHWA,
popular.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in terms of K-pop, they're moderately because K-pop failures is, I would say, those groups that don't even show up on our recommendations or whatever. Everglow, we've reacted to them before. We know we are aware of the group. I don't think they're a big group. I don't think they're super
Yeah.
popular, but
Honestly, I thought it was a throwback group.
I think they did some new stuff that we
Huh.
reacted to. I think Everglow is average. I would say they're your average K-pop group. Because the groups that we typically react, they're like above that. They're like the biggest groups. They're the most accomplished. So but there's a lot of like the smaller groups.
We
And
do also react to new groups
yeah,
just
well,
form.
we give them the chance,
Yeah.
to see what's what. Uh,
Everglow is what company?
I don't know.
Hmm.
It's not one of the big ones. I don't think so. But I think Everglow is like an average company. So I think this is like really the average of K-pop. That's how I would think.
like many agencies, employs creative accounting to ensure profits never reach idols. Revenue
What's
is funneled through shell companies.
like a similar here in the States? Like, who's your average star, if you can say? Like, is like C-list or B-list? Like
I would say B-list. I would say
B-list?
yeah.
So like an artist of that would be
Jordan Lucas.
really?
What? You
think
think he's
so?
above that? No.
I guess.
I think Jordan Lucas, yeah. Most people don't know who he is. If you're in the niche, you know who he is. I think that's one.
So you think this is a niche group?
K-pop niche. Like if you're in K-pop, you probably know them. If you're
But
not,
I thought you said they were average.
yeah,
The
average.
average.
Jordan Lucas is like average in terms of popularity.
Oh, I guess.
While losses are inflated to justify withholding pay. For example, let's assume an Everglow album sold 60,000 copies at $15 per album. That's $900,000. But UEHWA could claim manufacturing, distribution, and promotion fees cost $850,000, leaving $50,000 split 6 ways after trainee debt deductions. Same thing for streaming revenue. Spotify pays $0.003 per stream. Everglow's 300 million streams generate $900,000. But UEHWA can easily take 90% as distribution fees, leaving $90,000 to the girls, which they don't get because it gets devoured by debt. This is not hypothetical. In 2022, ex-Luna members sued BlackBerry Creative for similar accounting fraud, revealing the company had hidden millions in revenue. And while we're discussing Everglow, their mistreatment is well documented with multiple videos of the members getting yelled at by staff.
Kind of similar here in the States with the 360 contracts, though. That there is a lot of deduction. At the end of the day, you're getting pennies. So it just seems like it's going on in the industry.
360 deals. Who was the first to like talk about this? Because I'm curious
I don't ask me about the
why
history of
these
it.
contracts are even like valid.
Well,
Because it seems like
they're
it's a
valid
shark.
because but there's no other alternative. There's nobody's offering better contracts, so you kind of have to do what. That's how people get into the loan shark deals too. There's just no option, so this is the only option you take.
And don't get me started on their dorm conditions. Leaky roofs, broken heating, and insect infestations mirror those of many Nuga groups. Idols are housed in squalor while companies claim housing costs as part of their debt. UEHWA even withheld phones until Everglow's first win, a manipulative ploy to leverage fan sympathy for sales. These are not isolated incidents, but calculated strategies to break spirits and ensure compliance. Idols are isolated, denied phones.
Given how big K-pop is in Korea, like it's I would think it's a big industry. At least from our perspective, it's a big industry. I would think KOMCA or whatever, Korean Organization of Music, whatever that one, they should have like a audit branch that audits these companies every year to make sure the books are clean.
Definitely.
It's only fair to the artists because they can be cooking books and we don't know, because it's right now, what can we say? She's accusing them of cooking books, but we don't know. Maybe Everglow is just not a profitable group, like maybe it really isn't, or maybe the label is cooking books.
Who came up with this accusation? It's just the people in general, the
fans
netizens.
Probably, probably the girls came out complaining a little bit or something, made a comment, and the fans ran with it. It's hard to really comment much Do we think the the label is cooking books? Possibly. Do we have any proof? No. So it's kind of like
I wonder what are the odds.
of cooking books.
Mm-hmm.
Korea seems like a dirty society. I think that's
Most
common.
likely.
Yeah.
Monitored 24/7 and
Because, like,
gaslit
for
into
example, we have like the
And
sensation.
hold up. By dirty, I don't mean they didn't wash themselves.
Oh no, I didn't take it like that.
I'm just telling them
Uh,
because they don't say I'm saying they're dirty or something. No, it's not about the visual appearance. It's just about the ethics. Go ahead.
I was thinking of like BTS who changed the GDP of their country.
Yeah.
So I wondered, okay, so do you have to be undeniably like selling, going like booking all these shows so that they don't cook the books, or do you think it's just the case? Because I feel like it's more along the lines of Everglow. I think they're just not a profitable group.
I think
We never
It-
see them in nominations. We never
Mhm.
see them like performing
yeah,
like
they're definitely not the top
like
group as I said. No.
public broadcasted events or even smaller events.
They're not a popular group.
Do
but,
they put out content like
I'm
on
sure they do.
YouTube?
Uh, I think the big four labels. I
Mhm.
think they get audited. So I think for them they can't
Yeah.
they can't really cook the books
Yeah.
even if they wanted to.
Because the small company has to have the funds
I think
to actually.
I think the small
cook
companies
books.
can get away with more bullshit because
Yeah.
it's less likely good you're gonna get
But
audited.
but not the large amount. I think they could do like small amounts.
I do not think it's large amounts either. I think it's
Yeah.
like 10-20%, which can add up for the girls for the
Definitely.
paying off their debt. But it's so like she said, okay, so they
Uh-huh.
sell 900K of an album.
Yeah.
What's realistic profit of that 900K to go to the girls?
Yeah.
100 to 200,000, I think is
And it's
realistic.
a split 6 ways.
Yes, anything above that, I think it's unrealistic. If
Mhm.
you think the girls should get like 600K of that 900K, that's just not how business works. The label has to take a cut. Period.
Yeah.
There's production costs involved.
Yeah.
That's gonna all get deducted. So to me,
And
if
also, what if they went to like the hospital and had like emergency care or
I think
anything
it's
like
free
that?
healthcare in Korea.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Basically, the whole world
That's
has free
lovely.
healthcare except in America.
Oh.
But the fuck I wanted to say, whatever.
Leaving their debt is their fault. The stress, public scrutiny, and abusive conditions leads to serious mental health issues. A 2023 study found 68% of idols exhibit symptoms of anxiety or depression. Everglow's revelation is a cry for help in an industry that pathologizes vulnerability as
That's what I meant when I said Koreans are not happy.
weakness. The romanticized notion of K-pop groups going global is a smokescreen for financial predation. When companies like Yuehua ship groups like Everglow to perform in half-empty venues across Europe or the US, it's not about building a fandom, it's a debt laundering operation. Tours are structured.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. Yeah, I think the margin on the profit
Mhm.
margin or selling albums, I think
Mm.
10-15% is a good margin. I don't think it
Mm.
gets more than that to the artist. The label's margin is probably maybe more, but for the artist, I think it's about 10%.
To bleed idols dry. Agencies front
me
the
actually
exorbitant
Google,
costs of
maybe I'll
flights,
find
venues, and staff, then bury those expenses under the guise of investment, all while pocketing the lion's share of ticket and merch revenue. The math is rigged. Low ticket sales, inflated production budgets, and exploitative venue contracts guarantee that tours operate at a loss. A loss that's dumped onto the idol's already suffocating debt. It's a Ponzi scheme where each failed tour becomes justification to squeeze more comebacks, more content, and more labor from the group to repay the fictional deficit. Meanwhile, fans are gaslit into believing their concert tickets and streams are supporting the girls.
Oh, I see this perspective. Pretty much, like if there was agreed upon to do X amount of concerts, saying that they're in debt, you get to do an additional X amount of concerts. So the company is kind of
Well,
like,
a company's invested to keep them in debt, of
Yeah.
course. That's everybody's invested to keep debtors in debt. That's why when you get a
thought-
loan, you pay off the interest first. You don't pay the principal. You pay off the interest, so principal stays untouched. You can keep accumulating more interest.
Mhm.
It's a scheme.
I thought it was they have like for example 7 years contract. So you mean 7 years? So ultimately we're hearing this because they're probably up to renew contract terms.
Possibly, yeah.
And the complaint has been, well, it's almost time to renew our contract. 6 years, we haven't made any money. So I think, they're making a lot of commotion like our other groups have done when it comes to re-signing,
Mhm.
which is they're trying to leverage and try to get a better deal.
Yeah. So Google AI guess some answers. I don't know how accurate they are, but so
Mm-hmm.
new artists signed to a label might receive 15 to 20% of the net revenue from streaming after label recoups its cost. So I said,
After they recoup their
yeah, I said
costs.
10 to 15%. Here says 15 to 20, depends on the label. Then also it says record labels typically take a large percent of each artist's earnings, ranging from 50 to 90%. So as I said, again, 10% to 50% to the artist. Yeah, it's so the fact if they sell 900,000, I would think about 100,000, 150 to them is realistic. Yeah.
Hmm.
when in reality they're bankrolling the company's greed. The result? Idols like Everglow become trapped in a cycle of indentured touring, worked to the bone for events that only deepen their financial shackles, all while the agency profits from their exploitation. The global stage isn't a dream, it's a financial sinkhole, designed to keep idols perpetually indebted and companies perpetually rich. Fans are both victims and enablers. Streaming marathons,
That's why I
bulk album
kind of
buys,
get
and
it when I like, for example, if they were to be like influencers in the way, I wonder if they keep 100% of that or a
No,
portion.
it's
Mm.
360 deals. You don't
Mm.
keep 100% of nothing until you. Well, now the Blackpink girls, yeah, sure, that's
Mm.
different. But these deals, the initial deal, no, it's a 360 deal.
Mm.
crowdfunded support projects are marketed as altruism but serve corporate profit. When fans demand one more comeback, they unknowingly lobby for more exploitation. Companies weaponizes this guilt, threatening disbandment unless sales targets are met. A tactic seen with groups like
I mean, yeah. So what? Fans don't want to come back, so then the group, dissipates, and they still owe the money. Like, because the money is gonna be owed whether the group is successful or not. The debt
Mm.
is not going away. Like, so what? Fans are supposed to just let the group dissolute and owe the money? Like, no.
Priston and G-Friend.
Cash back big with Chase Freedom Unlimited. Earn a $200 bonus with no annual fee.
Acts, but lacks enforcement mechanisms. Agencies simply relabel trainee debt as advances or investment, skirting legal scrutiny. Meanwhile, the Korea Entertainment Management Association, tasked with oversight, but it's staffed by former CEOs, ensuring regulatory capture.
Oh,
The Luna
wow.
versus BlackBerry creative case in 2023 offers a blueprint. By suing for accounting transparency and unjust enrichment, idols can be agencies, but most idols lack resources for prolonged legal fights. The system is in desperate need of a restructure.
I mean, if you're already in debt, yeah, how are you gonna get the money to pay an attorney?
Limited trainee debt, revenue transparency, labor rights, classify idols as employees, granting minimum wage, healthcare, and union rights, but this will never happen, and the next generation of idols will face worse. 2. Let's talk about the
Then why are we talking about it if it's never gonna happen? Because I assume we're talking about it because we're trying to change it. If it's never gonna happen, then let's stop talking about it. Let it be.
LOLLAPALOOZA lineup, Twice is headlining, while Cat's Eye, Boy Next Door, Kickflip, and Dinary Heroes are also set to perform. Some are questioning why JYP has 3 groups on the lineup, but it turns out they have a deal with Live Nation.
I was about to say they have 3 groups because they have the connect, and well, that's what she said.
The parent company of the organization that runs Lollapalooza. Now let's pivot to the people who've got nothing but criticism for Kickflip landing this
That's
gig.
crazy.
Yeah, JYP
That's
got
a
one
big deal.
connect in the States.
That's a
Lollapalooza.
big deal.
Saying a month of music show experience isn't enough and that N-Mix or ITZY deserved it more. Really, Patricia? The inclusion of Kickflip, a group so green they make grass look ancient, isn't about merit but muscle flexing. They're
That's gonna
piggybacking on
be
Twice star power in a
nerve-wracking.
classic You Want the Headliner, You Swallow the
That's
Rookie.
gonna be
It's
nerve-wracking
industry
for Kickflip to be a new group.
What are they gonna perform though?
Lollapalooza is when?
I don't know, but it's 45 minutes set. I think.
Maybe
That's 45 minutes is like what?
Maybe
15
they-
songs? 10
maybe
songs
they
at
open
least?
for another act.
So what they're gonna do? Stray Kids covers?
I don't know. This is gonna be very interesting.
Darwinism. Force-feeding exposure to a group that'd otherwise drown in the 5th-gen boy group tsunami. Does Kickflip deserve it? Who cares? This is about leverage. JYP's using their crown jewel to buy a rookie a seat at the table.
I mean, it's not about who deserves it. It's about the label who got money gonna get pushed. It's like they put
Yeah.
whoever they want. It's not about deserve. There's nobody deserves nothing.
Who else is in JYP's label?
Twice and Mix, Stray Kids, Kickflip, and Next.
So NMIX didn't get it?
No,
They drop a-
that's their argument that NMix should have gotten it over Kickflip.
Bypassing
I would feel a certain way.
You're
We're
entitled
here.
to,
We just
but-
dropped the whole album. What are you doing?
I mean,
we need to be in these people's faces. Don't we
I
make you
get
money
it
too?
as-
This is guaranteed money.
I get it from a fan's perspective, but at the same time, nothing is owed. You just and I've been saying luck plays a role in life. and this is
which
luck.
3
You
groups
got
are
picked.
able to go? So
Twice
Twice?
is headlining, NMix, I mean not NMix.
Stray Kids?
No, Stray Kids did last year. I don't know who's the third group on
Low grind of building organic demand. Is it shameless? Absolutely. But let's not pretend Stray Kids or Twice themselves didn't benefit from JYP's ecosystem of privilege early on. The real critique here isn't JYP's hustle. It's the illusion that any major label act on that stage got there purely on artistic merit. Boy Next Door and
Right.
Cat's Eye, they've got Hybe's machine behind their hits. Kickflips and isn't inexperience. It's failing to hide the corporate machinery propping them up. But let's get pragmatic. If JYP's betting on Kickflip as Stray Kids' eventual successor, why wouldn't they parachute them onto a global stage? Waiting for readiness is a luxury when enlistment clocks are ticking and contracts are shortening. As for sidelining ITZY or NMIX, that's divisional politics. JYP's
ITZY.
structure is basically a bunch of mini labels, 6 to be
ITZY.
exact, that each handle their own artists. Think of it like this. If Twice team scores a major festival slot, they can toss their division's rookie group Kickflip into the deal as a bonus. That's why Kickflip's on the lineup despite being new, and why Vicha, also in Twice division, opened their concerts last year. Meanwhile, it's
Oh, that makes even more sense now.
Oh, it's
and
fair.
NMIX, different divisions,
Yeah.
different politics. It's not about fairness. It's about which team has the leverage to package their acts together. Simple as that. 3. Let's review Stacey's comeback BB.
BB.
It's a very club-oriented track with a beat-driven sing-talk delivery. The production is a sugar rush of laser tag synths and breakneck four-on-the-floor beats that scream mainstage EDM circa
gives
2014.
Brat
It's
Summer.
kinetic, glossy, and unapologetically loud, channeling Espa's hits from last year, Supernova and Whiplash, but the instrumentation does the heavy lifting. Stacey's strength has always been melodic magnetism, not this hyper-caffeinated posturing. BB leans so hard into
Yeah.
the cool girl sing-talk shtick that it forgets to write an actual song. The verses are the
Yes.
track's MVP.
That's what we said. The chorus don't make no sense.
A breathless sprint of staccato vocals and stuttering bass that mirrors the instrumental's urgency. But the chorus? A melodic vacuum. The girls stretch French lines like saltwater taffy over a busy instrumental that doesn't match their
That was so
delivery. Their
confusing.
voices fight the production instead of writing it. Compare this to Supernova, where each section amplifies the next. BB's chorus falls flat in contrast to its verses. Stacey's vocal chemistry is the track's lifeline. The pre-chorus almost salvages things. A fleeting moment of harmony where their voices layer into a sugary crescendo, teasing the melodic payoff. We're starved for. When the beat drops out at the bridge, revealing a skeletal vocal riff, you realize just how much BB relies on production crutches. Club sounds are back thanks to Espa. But Stacey's take lacks the surgical precision that made Supernova addictive. Espa's hit works because elements like the
I don't know. I didn't even get Espa. I got more Lesser FM here than early Lesser FM than Espa. I don't know. I didn't see Espa in this. Whiplash? No, not really. Gave me more like 2000, like Charlie XCX. Yeah, no. I don't
metallic
know.
vocal processing or the distorted bass wobbles serve the hook. BB isn't a bad song. It's a competent club track with an identity crisis, but at least it's high energy. 4. The Boys' comeback Triple V was
I guess that's where we stop because we didn't react to the boys.
Back to the boys. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord and soy. Share as much kindness as possible.